Salutations, Stan the Fan Charles.
Salutations back at you, Glenn Clark.
Good to see you. Good to
Good to see
see
you.
you. I hope that things are going to go. It's just been a little bit of a rough patch for me of late. Just a bit of a dip of
Well,
late.
combined again at the end of the year, we would like to ideally be significantly over 500, but between the two of us right now, we're 31 and 29. I'm 16 and 14. You're 15 and 15. Plus, you got the one win in the parlay twist, and we're doing another parlay twist today, and that is simply a fourth game when the Ravens play. It's a game we real quick pick the winning team, not having to do with the point spread, but the over under as well. So we'll do that periodically through the years. Glenn, let's tell everybody.
Sure.
Who we're brought to you by.
We, of course, are brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER and helpmygamblingproblem.org. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, then turn to 1-800-GAMBLER. You can call or text for free confidential services. And also brought to you by the Costas Inn, Stan, and the all-new Costas Inn, open in Timonium.
Glenn, I've got a super good day going today because I'm having lunch, which I already had with about 7 friends, including Boogie Wineglass, my brother, Ron Matz, Richard Scher, Michael Lesker.
Is Eddie Applefield on that? I feel like
Eddie wasn't part of that.
No,
Gary Silverman was, and Howard Mallison was.
Okay.
But, we had it at the lunch at the Costas Inn today.
Oh, man.
And I'm doubling back tonight because it's lobster night, and Mrs. Charles loves the lobster special at the Costas Inn.
That's a pretty good day, Stan the Fan. You can't do a lot better than that. Can't do a lot better than that. What's better than that?
Although the Orioles did lose both Josh Walker and Carter Ragsdale today, they were picked up on waivers, both by the Atlanta Braves. And I'm smelling that Tony Mansolino is sticking to the Orioles.
God. Josh Walker.
Josh Walker and Carter Ragsdale.
What's the point of even signing Michael King now? Like, you don't have Josh Walker. Forget it.
It ruins the yin and the yang.
Why would you even want Pete Alonso if you don't have Carson Ragsdale? God.
Anyway, 2 great locations of the Costas Inn. Timonium above the grandstand right next to the OTB, and we're brought to you equally by the Costas Inn out on 4100 North Point Boulevard. And again, if you're planning a little crab feast, that's the one you got to go to, is the Costas Inn, North Point Boulevard, 410-477-1975. Glenn, let's recap last week. We both went 2-1. We both had the Ravens minus the 4.5 against the Minnesota Vikings out there in Minnesota, and the Ravens took care of business. Glenn lost his by half a point.
Yeah.
He had the Bears as his lock winner, and they lost by they beat the Giants by 4, not 5. So he lost that. Meanwhile, I had Detroit as my lock winner, and that was one of the few games in 5-6 years of doing this that I had locked up pretty much in the first quarter. They were an 8.5-point favorite over the Commanders, playing without Jaden Daniels, who will be out for either all the season or much of the season. Glenn won his lock loser, was the Arizona Cardinals at Seattle. In Seattle, I think they doubled them up 44-22. My lock loser, which I jumped off of the Atlanta Falcons when it went from plus 5.5 to 6.5, and I felt like a genius, Glenn, when that game came through, because I would have lost that game. And I went to a game. I have no idea why I picked that game. Well, actually, I do. But New Orleans upset Carolina, so I went 2-1. So I'm 16-14 with a -1 in the parlay twist. Glenn is 15-15 with a +1 in the parlay twist. As we go to week 7, the Ravens are 7.5-point favorite at Cleveland. What time's the game? 4:25?
4:25 on Sunday.
It's supposed to be chilly and rainy in Cleveland.
Yeah, Stan, you might remember that the reason why I made this Ravens throwback helmet paddle is because I damaged my original Ravens helmet paddle.
Yes.
And apparently that was the week the Ravens played the Browns, because this is what my Browns helmet paddle looks like. But given who the Cleveland Browns are,
that's apt.
I think this is actually appropriate. Done. So we're sticking with it for this week.
All right.
So
I'm doing the thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs up if I like the Ravens -7.5. In 3, 2, 1. Glenn, it's your week to go first. So
the truth is, the Ravens have not had much success in Cleveland in recent years. It has been a bit of a house of horrors for them. Last year, they let Jameis Winston beat them in Cleveland. The year before, they actually won in Cleveland, but they lost to the Browns at home in the last game Deshaun Watson played and maybe will ever play, although who knows? The Browns are so bad. Maybe they'll let him come back and play more. In 2022, they lost 13-3 in Cleveland. In 2021, they lost 24-22 in Cleveland. They don't do well in Cleveland, but some of that's a little goofy. There was no Lamar Jackson for some of that. And Lamar Jackson was back at practice today. And for as much as they struggled in Cleveland, and for as legitimate as Cleveland's defense is, Myles Garrett had 5 sacks in a football game 2 weeks ago, and they lost the game by 19 points.
Yeah.
They don't have a quarterback. Dillon Gabriel is bad. I mean, Dillon Gabriel, there's a video going around this week on Twitter of some of his highlights from the Jets game last week. And it's not just that he's missing throws. He's inexplicably, guys in the flats, he's throwing it 10 yards over their head.
Maybe the game's a little faster than he's used to.
Yeah, I didn't think Dillon Gabriel was very good in college. I never understood their interest in Dillon Gabriel. But because of that, I'm not worried too much here. No Marlon Humphrey. Looks like no Rashad Bateman for Sunday. But and actually, the Browns have done a pretty good job against Derrick Henry when they faced him. But give me Lamar Jackson is the sort of the story of the day. Give me Lamar Jackson, and I like the Ravens to cover the 7.
Yeah, I think the Browns have no offense whatsoever right now. Why they wouldn't start? And this is my one fear in the game: is it's so bad in the first half, and the Ravens' offense isn't that great, and then they switch to Shedeur Sanders, who ignites them a little bit. I don't see the Ravens being in any danger of losing this game, but give me the Ravens, the way the defense has been going against an inept offense. And I think the Ravens offense is going to have a decent showing this week. I think we're going to see a little bit more of Keaton Mitchell in a couple different ways. And I think these tight ends are going to play a big part in this game. And I always think that Zay Flowers will make 3 or 4 plays. And I think DeAndre Hopkins is always good for one key play. So I like the Ravens comfortably in this game.
All right, Stan, what do you want to do next? You want to do winner loser, or do you want to do the parlay twist?
Let's do the winners losers.
All right.
And then so it's your week to go first. And who do you like as your lock winner, Glenn?
I can't believe I'm saying these words. I know I'm going to regret this. And it goes against everything I believe in because it's a game in Europe too. But the Miami Dolphins are my lock winner this week, which is an insane sentence to put together. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites against the Commanders in Madrid. And first of all, you have to recognize that the Dolphins have looked somewhat competent in recent weeks. Now, I know they also got blown out by the Ravens in there, but obviously a huge win over Atlanta and then shocking the NFL world by really kicking the S out of the Buffalo Bills last week. So I guess the Dolphins have not given up. Tua has played well. It's probably the worst case scenario in Miami because, if this continues, then you probably can't move on from Tua. You might not be able to move on from Mike McDaniel. You might be stuck in a little bit of purgatory if this continues this way. But they're getting the job done. And the Commanders, I'll just say they look like dog shit. I mean, the Commanders look like a team that is rudderless, and they have no Jaden Daniels, and they have no Terry McLaurin. They have not been able to figure out if they have anyone who can run the football. They've never committed to Bill Krosky-Merritt the way that we thought they would. Their defense got old fast. I mean, fast.
Total team regression. Team regression.
And to the point where they don't even look competitive.
Yeah.
And so until otherwise, I see otherwise. I just, there's nothing to like about it. I can't believe I'm doing it, but give me the Dolphins as my lock winner.
But there's one thing going against your pick, Glenn.
Yeah.
Commanders / Redskins have never lost in Madrid.
That's a good point. You are right about that. Literally never has that happened. Your lock winner this week, Stan.
My lock winner this week is the Green Bay Packers going into New York, the Giants. And you just haunted me, though, when you mentioned Jameis Winston beating the Ravens. This would be that type of win.
It would be,
wouldn't it? He is at home, but he's been third string behind Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart. And then Wilson was supposedly the number 2 guy, but they're not putting him back out there, Russell Wilson. They don't, they've just fired their coach. I think maybe they'll rally around the new coach, but this spread seems awfully light to me. But then again, sometimes when there's real head scratches.
And obviously the Packers have looked really bad the last 2 weeks, right? Scoring just 7 points against the Eagles and losing at home to the Panthers. But to your point, I definitely think they're better than that. I think this is a blip in the radar for them.
Yeah. So we'll see. Your lock loser, Glenn Club.
Yeah, my lock loser this week. I hate going back to back like this, but I don't understand this line. Jacoby Brissett has played, fairly well, but the Cardinals are another team that just kind of looks lost at the moment. And while the 49ers have been beleaguered by injuries to a point where they can't stay competitive with the 2 top teams in the NFC West, there's still a clear line of demarcation between them and the Arizona Cardinals. So getting this at just a field goal to me is kind of a gift. Give me the Cardinals as 3-point dogs as my lock loser against the 49ers.
The way we do this, where we can't play Thursday night and we give, it's your week to go first. So by the time I get to my lock loser, I'm struggling a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the 5th or 6th game on the list, right? Yeah.
But still, I had to take a team as my lock loser that I absolutely have no idea what they're about, and that's the Carolina Panthers. They go to Green Bay, beat the Panthers to get to 5-5, I think.
Yep.
And then they come back home and play one of the worst teams in the National Football League and get not only beat, but beat rather handily by the New Orleans Saints. But I'm going back to the well. I think Atlanta gets well coming home. They had a tough game against the Indianapolis Colts. I like the way Michael Penix is playing. He's got a couple good pieces there with the tight end and the running back, Bijan Robinson. And what's the tight end's name? Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yep.
Pitts. So I'm going to essentially take Carolina. Not essentially. I'm taking them plus 3.5 points as my lock loser, thinking Atlanta can beat them by about 7 to 10 points.
These 2 teams stand are the 2 most confusing teams in the NFL to the point where there's a chance to me that this game ends in like a scoreless tie. Like that, I have no idea what these 2 teams are going to do.
This is a real roll of the dice. I tend to like Atlanta a little bit more playing at home, but it wouldn't shock me if Atlanta loses the game outright.
All right, Stan, our parlay twist. So this one, we throw out the odds, or we throw out the spread, sorry. And instead, we pick an outright winner, but we have to combine it with either the over or the under. So when
in the same game.
Correct. So when I do this, I'm specifically looking for a game where when I looked at the line at first, I said, that number's too rich for my blood, right? Like I like them to win, but I'm not sure if they can cover. So this gives me a chance to get what I want and then combine it with where I think
Buffalo's
the game is
favored by what, 3.5?
No, it's bigger than that.
5?
I think it was 5.5. Yeah, 5.5 is what the Bills are favored by against a banged up but good Buccaneers team. And I think the Bills are going to bounce back. I don't think what we saw from them a week ago against the Dolphins is going to be their story. They're also a perplexing team where they've had really good wins. They beat the Chiefs and the Ravens, but then they've also lost to the Falcons and the Dolphins. But I think they bounce back here at home. The problem is I just don't love the number. So doing the parlay twist allows me to just take the Bills to win outright. So if they win by 3, I'm good here. And then I'm going to combine it. Two teams that are very capable of scoring points, and I expect to score points. The number is 47.5. I'm going to take the over. So over Bills money line and over 47.5 is my parlay twist for this week.
All right, interesting. I can't say that I disagree with that. I had a little struggle with this, but I initially was going to pick the Steelers and the under. I forget what the under was in the game against the Bengals.
It's 49.5.
49, and I was going under on that. But you know what? It's Joe Flacco, and he could throw a wrench and everything. I ended up settling on a tricky game because I'm taking Detroit. Not that the points are important, but they're the underdog on the road, getting 2.5 points, but the points don't matter.
Yeah, you're saying they're going to win.
I'm saying they're going to beat the Eagles.
Wow.
And with all this turmoil going on with the Eagles offense right now, I think Detroit's capable of shutting down the Eagles a little bit. I think there's a little too much dissension for me there. And I think they got to stop 2 players, and that's Dallas Goedert, and they got to stop Saquon Barkley. Anyway, it's 46.5. I think it's going to be like a 24-16, 24-17.
Wow.
Yeah.
That one to me is bold, Stan. That is bold. I know what you're saying about the Eagles. I also have this sense that they just thrive in chaos, that like somehow when everything, it just works for them for some insane reason. But that is a bold pick. All right.
I like the Lions. I'm a big Jared Goff fan.
I get it. I think a lot of us do, and that's why we were so confused by what happened to them when they faced JJ McCarthy a couple weeks ago. But Dan Campbell decided to take over the play calling, got Jameson Williams involved last week. We'll see if that continues this week against the Eagles.
All righty.
You want to recap it?
Yeah, recapping real quick, Glenn and I both like the Ravens -7.5 in Cleveland at 425. That'll be on CBS, correct?
Yes, that's on CBS.
All right. Glenn's lock winner is the Miami Dolphins -2.5, despite the fact they've never won a game in Madrid.
Never.
And the Commanders
they've never lost
a game. And in fact, that's true of all 32 NFL teams. Anyway, my lock winner is the Green Bay Packers -7 at the New York Giants with Jameis Winston playing under new head coach. Glenn, what is his name? Do you know?
Gosh, hang on a second. I know it, but hang on. Go ahead. Just
okay. Arizona is Glenn's lock loser.
Mike Kafka. Sorry, thank you, Mike Kafka.
A name to remember. Okay. Glenn's lock loser for second straight week in a row is the Arizona Cardinals, getting 3 points versus San Francisco. That game is in Arizona, right?
It is.
Okay. My lock loser is the Carolina Panthers, getting 3.5 in Atlanta. And our parlay twist, where we throw out the point spread of the game, Glenn's, and then also have to pick the over/under of the same game. Glenn is taking Buffalo and over 47.5 points. I'm doing something bold. I'm taking the Detroit Lions to win the game and the over/under to be under 46.5. Glenn thinks I'm crazy. We have been brought to you by the folks at Maryland Problem Gambling. 1-800-GAMBLERS the number. If you or your family member have a problem with gambling, nip it in the bud as soon as you can. Okay?
No doubt about it.
And who else, Glenn?
Of course, the Costas Inn, 2 great locations, the OG on North Point Boulevard and the brand new location at the Grandstand in Timonium.
All right.
Stan, appreciate you, bud.
Yep.
All right. See you tomorrow.